So, you got the dreaded rejection email. Maybe it was just a form letter that said it wasn't a good fit, or maybe it came with some feedback, which they say is a good thing. But all it did was leaving you questioning your entire writing ability. Just know that you're not alone, first off. And second, in this video, I'm not just going to be talking about how to bounce back from that, but I'll be breaking it down into practical strategies to turn that rejected manuscript into a step forward on the path towards success rather than a setback that knocks you off course. Let's get into it. First things first, rejections suck. They always do, no matter what. No way around it. Each time I get a rejection letter, it does not feel good. And that's part of being human. That's normal. You poured your soul into this book. So how could you expect not to get upset when someone doesn't value it as much as you? It's almost like when you get a rejection, you feel like that person's saying no to everything about you, which is not true. It's definitely not. But we tend to think that as creatives. These people don't know you. They don't know everything that's gone into this book. They're judging it off of, a lot of times, just a chapter in a query letter, which they know isn't fair either. And a lot of them will say that in their query or in their rejection email. But I just want to say it again. That's not a reflection of who you are, that you are not a failure. But still, let yourself be a human. You can feel bad about it. Let yourself process it. My advice? When you get the email that says someone's replied to your query letter, don't check it until the next morning. You're going to have like a flutter of excitement and you're going to want to check it right away, but I think your emotions are too high in that moment. And I promise you, if they are offering representation, like if it's a yes email, they're willing to wait until tomorrow. But a lot of times that 24-hour break can help you regulate your emotions, so that way if it is a rejection, which statistically is likely, you're not going to feel as emotionally broken from it. After you get the rejection, I also recommend maybe taking a day off of writing if it's hitting you that hard. Let yourself process it, take a day off, sleep it off. The next morning, I bet you'll be feeling better, and then we can get back to writing. Get back to doing the thing that you love. And last thing, remind yourself that even your favorite authors got rejected. Harry Potter got rejected a bunch. Red Rising by Pierce Brown, one of my favorite series of all time, got rejected a bunch. It's part of the process to becoming a traditionally published author. And even if these rejections are the end of this story, it's not the end of your story. That brings me to the next point. So you got a rejection. Should you revise this book or should you start a new book? So to deal with this, let's get practical because it's a very important question. There's a few things to consider. Where are you in the query process for this book that just got rejected? Was this your first wave, like your A-list agents, which is those agents that are your dream agents? If that's the case, then you should keep going. You should be revising always, making it as sharp as you can, but then you should keep querying it to your next wave. I think you should have at least about 3 waves of a respectable number. It doesn't have to be insane. I think my first wave was like 7 agents that I thought really fit what I was looking for. But let's say you've gone through a few waves of queries. Now it's time to look at the feedback you're getting. Are all of them form rejections? Do any of them have feedback? First off, just because it's a form rejection doesn't mean that it was bad. Agents are very busy people. They can't always give personalized feedback. But it could be a sign, if all of them are form rejections, that there isn't enough substance that they're finding in this book. But with the ones that are, or if you are getting some personalized feedback, take a look at them. Are they all saying the same thing? Are they all pinpointing certain aspects? That could give you a clue that you need to revise those specific things in your book. Okay, let's say now you've done multiple revisions and you've done multiple rounds of queries and you're still getting rejection. But you still aren't sure, like, should I set this book aside or not? My tip, this one can be super hard, but I think it's super helpful, is ask your writing group, the people that you have shared this book with, and ask them to be honest. Let them know where you are in the query process and ask, do you think it's worth that I keep revising and sending in, or should I really turn my focus to something else? A good writing group will be helpful. They'll be honest. They know that this is vulnerable for you, so they're going to give you good feedback, both positive and good constructive criticism, to help you make that decision. If they are adamantly telling you to keep going with this book, they think there's serious value there that could sell in the market, then I think you should keep going. If they are not super adamant about it, but you can just tell maybe it's not enthusiastic, then that could be a sign that it's time to move on. Now, I do want to acknowledge that letting go of a story can be super hard. They are our babies. You created this thing in your brain. You created all these characters. They feel like your friends, your family. It can be hard to let them go knowing that they're going to live on your computer. I've had to do it with 3 books now, and it's sad every time. But I know that those stories are getting me towards the next one that eventually is going to sell and is going to help me pursue my dreams. But just because you set something aside does not mean you're giving up. Like I said earlier, it might be the end of this story, but it's not the end of your story. I want to paint a picture here. I don't know how well this is going to work, but you guys remember like the monkey bars in like grade school at recess? Think about it like that. You're going across the monkey bars. You have to let go of one bar to get to the next eventually. If you just hold on, you'll never move. Think of it like that. So you're writing this book, you're progressing towards the place you need to be, but you have to let go of that previous stuff in order to get to the new things that are going to get you better at the task. Oh, and by the way, it doesn't mean that every aspect of that book has to go away forever. If you had a character that you loved, repurpose them in a new book. If you loved the magic system, take aspects of it and put it in the new book. Sometimes I'll take character names that I loved from characters that I know are never gonna be on the shelf, and I put them in the new book. Little things like that can make you feel like you're still holding on to aspects of that story and letting that go into the next one. And here's another thing. Maybe you're just not quite technically skilled enough to write this story right now. Let me give you an example. The first book I ever wrote was an epic fantasy with a magic system that I love. I love it, and I love the characters, and I love the story. But it was a huge book. It had 3 POVs. For my first time ever writing, I was not ready to write that book, but I did it anyway. Wrote an entire first draft. And then I moved on, I wrote a second book, and then I thought, I'm a better writer now. I'm going to try again on this first one. So I started from scratch, and I wrote an entire another first draft, and then I started to revise it. And then I realized I'm still not good enough. So what did I do? I set that aside and I wrote a third book. Finished that one, actually thought it was really good. Revised it, that one's still in the querying process. And then I'm like, maybe I'm good enough to write that epic fantasy now. I'm gonna be better this time and think not quite. So I started a new book and I'm about like 25% done with that one. But someday I know I'm gonna come back to that epic fantasy and I'm gonna write it and I'm gonna write it well. I'm just not quite ready yet at this stage. So maybe you have some stories like that. Set them aside for now, and you can have a little bit more solace knowing I might get to come back to it someday and make it a better version of itself. I'm sure you've heard this story if you're a fantasy reader, but Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings, he wrote that book. It's called Way of Kings Prime is what he calls it, but he just wasn't quite good enough back then. When he got good enough, he started from scratch and rewrote that book, and now it's one of the most beloved series that he has. But okay guys, I'll say it again because I think this is the most important message of this video. You're not giving up when you're setting aside a book. It can just be fuel to accelerate your writing. It gives you the opportunity to sharpen your craft, write different stories, which is going to make you a better writer, and continue to do what you love, which is write stories and tell stories. It is not the end of your story if you get a rejection. But alright, if this video resonated with you, subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting more stuff like this here on the channel. Let me know in the comments if you guys are in the querying process, if you've had to set aside books that you really had a hard time with. I like seeing your guys' comments, and I always reply to all of them. I think they're very insightful, and it's fun to engage with you guys. Makes it feel like a community. We're all in this together. We're all wanting to publish books one day and tell our stories. So let's do it together. All right, guys, until next time, keep writing.